Hey guys, it's Halo553. Welcome back to another Beyblade X unboxing and review. Today we're going to be checking out the first of the Wave 8 dual packs from Hasbro, that being Tail Viper and Spears Scorpio. Now going over the packaging quickly, as you can see it's your standard dual pack packaging we're used to at this point, with the nice open window. And on the back of the box it goes over everything we get in this dual pack. So starting off with Tail Viper, we of course have the Tail Viper blade. Ratchet is 385 and we get the low orb bit. And then the second band we get is Spears Scorpio. So of course we get the Spears Scorpio blade. Ratchet is 070 and then we have the Zap bit. So let's get into this dual pack. So here is Tail Viper and Spears Scorpio out of the packaging. So now Tail Viper is a recolor with some part changes from the recolor that was included in Random Booster Volume 4, which is pretty cool. And then Spears Scorpio was originally a starter pack from Takara, which is now in a dual pack. So pretty interesting choices for this dual pack. But let's now take a deep dive into all the parts that we get in this dual pack. So first off, we'll have a look at Tail Viper with the Tail Viper blade itself. So this is the same Tail Viper that was originally released in Random Booster Volume 4 with Obsidian Shell. So pretty nice to be able to get this blade again. It has also been a little while since Hasbro's released Viper Tail, or Tail Viper. The last time was in Wave 2 in the dual pack with Gale Wyvern. So pretty nice to be able to get this blade again. Now it is a stamina type orientated blade, but probably not as round compared to other stamina types we're used to at this point. Back when Tail Viper first came out, it actually was pretty decent, and honestly worked really well in starting attack type combos. Nowadays though, it is very outclassed both in stamina types and also just really any other type you can put it on. It can still be viable from time to time, especially with some of its retools, but nothing too amazing. Still, really nice to see Hasbro decide to re-release this blade again. I think if you did miss out on the original releases of Tail Viper from Waves 1 and 2, this will definitely be a decent option if you want to get this blade. Next up we have... I have no comment on this. Finally, for the bit, we have Low Orb. Really nice bit to get here in the dual pack finally. This is the second release of Low Orb from Hasbro as well. And it's done in this really nice purple color. I think this is going to be a really nice color. And honestly, I really like these color choices. I think when it comes to color choices for Ratchets and Bits, Hasbro really knows what they're doing. Granted, I wish they would pick different Ratchets, but that's another story for another day. But even still, Low Orb is a great bit to use. It's seeing a lot of use for Shark Scale right now. It's working really well with that blade. And it's just a really good stamina bit overall. So really happy to see it here. With this combination of parts, it makes Tail Viper a stamina type, so pretty much like the original release. But let's now focus really on the main star of this dual pack, and that being Spears Scorpio. So we'll start off with the Spears Scorpio blade itself. Now this is a UX balance type blade, so long chunks of plastic, and the metal is more allocated to the outer weight distribution. Now back when Spears Scorpio first came out by Takara, this was one of the heaviest blades you could get your hands on, almost 40 grams. So yeah, it is a massive heavyweight. So it uses this heavy weight to its advantage by having massive smash attacks, and it works really well. But probably really the main gimmick of Spears Scorpio that makes it stand out is its mode change. So when you launch it initially into battle, it's in its defense mode with the plastic ring around it basically filling in the gaps between the three main blades. But when it hits the extreme line, it twists these blades to expose more of the three metal blades to make it into an attack mode, which is really cool. And it can be pretty battle effective sometimes. Now, main drawback with this blade though is of course the heavyweight does make it quite top heavy, so stamina's not the best. But even still, Spear Scorpio can be a bit of an underestimated threat if you let it slip by. It can be really practical at times, and is a pretty fun blade to use. I think the mode change is really fun to mess around with. Next up we have the 070 ratchet. So this ratchet first came out with Spear Scorpio. So it's 0 treasure points at the 70 height. Not the best ratchet, but I would say out of the 0 ratchets released so far, this is probably the best of the 3. It's not too short and it's not too tall, but you are still going to be experiencing some scraping with its 3 main contact points. It's just not the best ratchet. It can get uses from time to time. Like I said, it's probably the best out of the 3, but definitely not a great ratchet. I'm still very happy to see that we finally got this release from Hasbro. It's definitely long overdue, but definitely not my favorite ratchet to use, really. Finally, for the bit, we have Zap. Really nice bit to be able to get here in a dual pack finally. So Zap is another one of those bits that's a combination of 2 different parts. So in this case, a cell and point. So you do have the point, like on point, duh, and you do have the 16 gear teeth and shaping similar to a cell. So this bit can go really crazy on the stadium floor, especially when you put it onto certain angles, and when it hits the extreme line, it's going to go really fast. But it does have a few drawbacks. Just because of the nature of how it behaves, your stamina is not going to be great. And because of hitting the extreme line with all those gear teeth, you're going to be draining that stamina really quick as well. It can be very situational at times and can work really well, but if you really after a bit that's similar to Zap, you're better off using like point, even transpoint, and honestly kick. Those are just better bits overall. But still a nice bit to get here. Not the worst bit, but definitely not the best. With this combination of parts, it makes Spear Scorpio a balance type. But let's now head over to the scales and weigh up both bays that we get in this dual pack. Alright, let's now do some weights for this dual pack. So we'll start off with Tail Viper. So Little Orb weighs 1.88. Freddy 5, we know what this weighs, 4.62. And then the Viper Tail Blade, this one weighs 34.41 grams. Not a bad weight, but just when you consider that Viper Tail is pretty outclassed nowadays, it's not the best. Just for comparison, here is another Viper Tail Blade, 34.26. So this one is a little bit heavier than this one at least. So let's put the bay together. 385. Low orb. I will admit the colors on the ratchet and bit look great. Shame it's 385. But altogether, this combo with Tail Viper weighs 40.97. So now for Spear Scorpio. So the Zap bit weighs 2.49. The 070 ratchet 6.98. And then the Spear Scorpio blade itself, that weighs 39.62 grams. So that is really heavy. Back when this came out, this became one of the heaviest blades you could get. So, and it's still a very impressive weight. So let's put the bay together. So 070 and Zap. Pretty cool. So all together, Spear Scorpio weighs 49.1 grams. So pretty nice weight. But let's now head out to the stadium and do some test spins and some test battles. Alright, now we're going to try out some test spins and some test battles with both Tail Viper and Spear Scorpio. So we'll start off with Tail Viper. So being on low orb, it's going to perform like the stamina type should. It's just that the fact that they're still including 385s constantly is it's just frustrating. Like, I know it's trying to save costs, but you could save costs in a much better way. Not by constantly including the same recycling of the simple ratchets. They are getting a little bit repetitive now. And don't get me wrong, Takara is the same with the random boosters. They've been including in simple ratchets way too much. But I do appreciate that they did re-release Tail Viper, because I know it hasn't been available for a while. And granted, we've had the collab bays, but I'm not really technically counting that. It's nice to get at least the original mold. And honestly, the blow up's great too. But now for Spear Scorpio. Whoa. Of course, being on Zap. It is just weird to see Scorpio released in a dual pack. I honestly thought it would make more sense for it to be in a starter. I think it's just probably because of the putting the Infinity Bays into starters kind of threw the release of Scorpio out of whack. I'm guessing that's probably the main reason why it's in a dual pack. But I think it probably would have been better in a starter regardless. But either way, it's still great to at least get this bay finally. It's definitely been way overdue. But let's now see how these two go against each other and some opponents.
Again! Oh my god. Wow. I forgot how fast Zap is and how much it drains stamina. Wow. Okay, they didn't even make contact. Oh my god! That's twice, and Scorpio could not get it in. Yeah, Zap is just not the best bit for Scorpio. Strangely enough, a combo that works with this is 960 on Disc Ball. So I would definitely recommend trying that with this. It actually works really well with Spear Scorpio.
So that was it for my look at Tail Viper and Spear Scorpio. Really nice dual pack overall. I think there's definitely some really great things in this dual pack. And when you compare it to the other dual pack of Wave 8, it's definitely the best of the two. But I'll now further break this down by talking about each of the bays one by one. Starting with Tail Viper, really nice to see Hasbro decide to re-release this blade after quite a long time. It's been pretty much a year since Tail Viper's been available. So really nice to see this blade come back, and nice to be a new recolor as well that we haven't seen from Hasbro. Now for the rest of the parts, it's 50-50. 385, I'm disappointed in. We've been getting this ratchet too many times. Just stop it, please. Give us actually decent ratchets, not this simple ratchet stuff. They need to stop it. But Low Orb is great. It's definitely fantastic to be able to get Low Orb in a dual pack. So overall, it's a pretty decent blade, and just combo overall, just the ratchet does let it down a little bit. Even though Tail Viper is not really competitively viable anymore these days, even its remolds, it's still really nice to be able to get at least the original Tail Viper mold if you've not picked it up yet. Now as for Spear Scorpio, yeah, Spear Scorpio is obviously the best bay out of this dual pack. It is a really nice balance type blade, it's really fun to use. While 070 is not the best ratchet and Zap's not really the best bit, they can be decent in their own uses with certain combos. But I do find the release of Spear Scorpio in a dual pack to be a bit weird. I thought it would have made more sense to release it as a starter, but I'm guessing because of the CX the Infinity starters that Hasbro pushed out for Wave 8, it sort of pushed Spear Scorpio into this kind of weird release slot. But I'm still happy that Hasbro finally decided to release it. It's definitely way overdue. And honestly, it's in a decent dual pack, so I definitely can recommend picking up the dual pack just for this bay alone if you are after it. So my final thoughts on the dual pack are really good. I do feel like this is the best of the two dual packs for Wave 8, and you're definitely getting some pretty good value here. Spear Scorpio is definitely the best bay out of this dual pack and definitely worthwhile getting it. And Tail Viper is a decent inclusion if you have not picked it up yet, plus the Low Orb bit is awesome in those colors, it looks great, but the inclusion of 385 does let down Tail Viper a bit. So I definitely can recommend this dual pack if you've spotted it out in the wild. You could probably wait for a sale if you can, but honestly, I definitely do highly recommend you pick this pack up. But that's going to do it for this review. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, and check out all my friends' other channels in the description below. So until then, I'll see you all in the next video.